TV. This is the Monday Report with Trevor Ombija.
That's absolutely right. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for making time for the Monday Report. The clergy says they will not announce the contributions of politicians at the pulpit. They will also not allow the politicians to speak to the people from the pulpit. This is not the first time this is happening. What is different this time? Will it hold? How will they implement it across board? That's why speaking to Reverend Canon Evans Omolo, Provost at the All Saints Cathedral, we'll find out from him how do they intend to make this stick this time round. At Trevor Ombija at Citizen TV Kenya, use the hashtag Monday Report. But first, our top stories tonight. Final bid by Kenya to save Margaret Nduta from Vietnam's death row as family waits in agony. No Ruto, no forum. Protest erupt as MCAs demand President Ruto's attendance on day one of the Nairobi Forum.
I, Honorable Isaac Mutuman Twadingia,
jubilation as Isaac Mutuma takes oath as Meru's fourth governor, but Mwangaza vows to fight on. Diplomatic fallout. Rwanda and Belgium cut ties and expel diplomats amid DRC conflict. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yula Nzale. So Kenya has now activated her Thailand embassy in a rush to stem the execution of her citizen of a drug conviction. Kenya's Margaret Nduta was sentenced to death and was set to be executed today. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the Principal Secretary, says that a team from the neighboring Thailand has moved to Hanoi, Vietnam, as the government combines political and diplomatic channels to save Nduta.
The months morphed into weeks, the weeks into days, and now the hour of reckoning beckons for 37-year-old Margaret Nduta. Nduta could be spending the last hours of her life on the face of the earth if the government's last-minute efforts to save her from the lethal injection does not bear the result that her family so much crave. Nduta was arrested in 2023 at the Ho Chi Minh City Airport in Vietnam, allegedly smuggling 2 kilograms of cocaine into the country. For that crime, Nduta was tried, convicted, and sentenced to the maximum penalty applicable, death. Her impending fate raised a collective campaign both online and through government machinery to implore upon the Vietnamese government to spare her life and allow her repatriation to Kenya. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the Principal Secretary, Korir Sing'oei, maintains that the government is not relenting in the fight for Nduta's life. Sing'oei told Citizen TV that the government has sent a team from the neighboring Thailand, where Kenya has a diplomatic presence, to Vietnam, where Kenya lacks the same, in the latest push for Nduta's life. This effort, Sing'oei states, should at the very least buy Nduta a stay of execution and hopefully clemency in the long run. The crime for which Nduta was condemned to death for is one of the 22 offences that attracts the death penalty. A conviction for murder, armed robbery, drug trafficking, rape, sexual abuse of children, graft and corruption, fraud and embezzlement, illegal production and trade of food, foodstuffs and medicines, amongst others, carry the death sentence.
Muniletee huyo msichana huku, alafu mkitaka kumfuga mumfugie huku.
And as the clock ticks towards that time, the family of the condemned prisoner will be praying and hoping against hope that a miracle happens to save their kin. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
And away from that, chaos characterized day one of the County Assembly's summit in Nairobi as ward representatives forcefully ejected Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya, blocking him from delivering a message from the president. Senators and members of parliament faced a similar fate, with MCAs demanding the president's presence and accusing governors and county assembly speakers of unfairness. Though proceedings briefly resumed, the MCAs issued a stern warning, threatening to block county budgets if their demands are not met. Ayub Abdikadir has the details.
Sandwiched, subdued, and surrounded by a sea of MCAs. Soft-spoken Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya found himself in uncharted waters. denied, defied, and ejected.
Kila mtu aende lunch.
No fine footing on the first of 6-day members of the County Assembly's forum either. The umbrella, which brings together more than 1,400 MCAs and who from the onset made apparent their grievances.
God is good.
Nominated Senator Veronica Maina's attempts to extinguish the anger, further fanning more flames.
Give us a little while because alikuwa on his feet. Akitoka tu atashika hiyo message. And I believe the president will respond to it positively.
Waziri, no.
Okay.
The pedigree of the discontent growing by the minute. Unrelenting, the ward representatives were even dead against one of their own.
Because even the minister is saying that the consultations you want him to make, he also want to make in a kakuna. Amtaki onge. Nani atongelesha president? Nani atongelesha president? Nani atongelesha president? Nani atongelesha president?
And after a brief disruption, the venue turned into a theatre for the honourable members from the county assemblies. Citing government bureaucracy, they insisted on the presence of the president.
If we cannot agree now between the assemblies and the presidency, then we are done.
The MCAs blaming the National Assembly for what they termed a systematic suffocation of devolution of allocations to the counties, calling for entrenchment of the Ward Development Fund in the Constitution. The ward representatives also reiterating that they would not work under the armpits of governors, accusing county bosses of stalling development projects through budget cuts.
Sisi tunadharauliwa kwa sababu vita yetu inaanzaga mashinani kwa mtu anaitwa governor. Sina mnayo? Sasa tunawapatia governors miezi ngapi? Miezi 3. If the president does not come to this function, we are not going to pass the 2025-2026 budget.
Calling for a review of their pay, car grants and other privileges. The forum's program has listed other stakeholders to grace day 2 of the conference, and fears are rife over similar hallmarks punctuating the proceedings. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Now, Isaac Mutuma has officially taken over as Meru County's 4th governor, vowing to unite residents and restore stability in a county that has faced turbulent leadership since Kawira Mwangaza's tenure began. Despite his swearing in already facing a legal challenge, Mutuma took the oath of office minutes past 10 a.m. at Mwenda Antu grounds in Meru town. Now, the ceremony was attended by both current and veteran leaders, many of whom have been accused of fueling Mwangaza's troubled tenure. Kamau Mwangi was in Meru and now brings us this report.
I, Honorable Isaac Mutuma Ntwethingia.
Moments after the national and East African anthems played,
Truly and vigilantly.
Meru Deputy Governor Mutuma Ntwethingia took the oath of office, officially assuming his former boss's position as Meru County's 4th governor. His swearing in met with loud cheers from an electrified crowd. And after the oath, it was time to celebrate victory. From the jubilant crowd to the political leaders in attendance, joy and excitement filled the air. Weighing heavily on the new county boss is the legacy of a turbulent 2.5-year tenure marked by deep divisions. His predecessor, Kawira Mwangaza, survived 2 impeachment attempts, only for the High Court to uphold her 3rd impeachment on Friday.
I declare today that the political grandstanding has come to an instant end. I commit to work with each one of you. I will operate an open door policy where each one of you is welcome.
The swearing-in, conducted under heavy police presence, saw the new governor position himself as a solution to the county's challenges. The ceremony drew Meru's political elite, including both serving and veteran politicians.
I am aware that we face many challenges, and I'm here not to make grand promises, but to offer you something more, servant leadership.
With Mwangaza out of the picture, calls to allow the new county boss to deliver for the Meru electorate dominated speeches. Everyone who took to the stage pledged close collaboration to steer the county forward.
Kawira Mwangaza awachane na maneno ya koti, aende nyumbani apumzike, alikuwako, alipatiwa nafasi. Sasa leo ndio tunaanza safari. Na tukianza safari leo, ujue tumechelewa na miaka 2.5. Kila mtu sasa arudi kwa ofisi yake. Mimi narudi Senate kuendelea na kazi yangu.
There are a lot of frustrated hopes and dreams of Meru. We wanted to make Meru great. Lakini kazama. Ikaingia kwa matope. Sasa tumekuja kuokolewa na mtu wa Mungu.
We will come back to Meru because Meru is where we belong, and Meru is our business, and now Meru is more peaceful, and I believe going forward, Meru itakuwa better kuliko vile imekuwa.
According to the new county chief, health, education and agriculture will be his top priorities despite a case filed earlier today challenging the legality of his swearing in.
We have a past, a painful past of trials and sacrifice, a burden borne by many of our leaders and the people they lead, a past that we should deliberately and consciously choose to forget.
The battles are over and now the real work begins. That was the message as Meru County welcomed its fourth governor, officially bringing to a close Kawira Mwangaza's tenure, a period marked by intense political turbulence. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV, Mwendanto grounds in Meru County.
Now, former Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza has vowed to appeal the High Court's decision upholding her impeachment by the Senate, marking the end of a turbulent tenure. Mwangaza, one of the 7 female governors elected in 2022, had a rocky 2.5 years in office, surviving 2 impeachment attempts before her final removal. As Emmanuel Toh now reports, she now makes history as the first governor from the 2022 elections to be ousted through impeachment.
Mwangaza has been duly elected as the county governor for Meru County.
Former Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza defied expectations, defeating 2 political heavyweights, then incumbent Governor Kiraitu Murungi and former Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi.
I, Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, do swear.
Running as an independent candidate, she secured her place in history, joining the exclusive club of 7 female governors elected in 2022, also known as the G7. But her meteoric rise was short-lived. The glory she once basked in quickly faded as MCAs, mostly from the Devolution Empowerment Party, Mbas Party, and UDA regrouped, drafting an impeachment motion against her.
And the governor stands impeached by the County Assembly of Meru. Thank you.
By December 2022, barely 5 months into her tenure, the motion sailed through the county assembly, marking the beginning of her political downfall. During the first impeachment attempt, later rejected by the Senate, MCAs built their case around what they termed as excessive involvement and interference by Mwangaza's spouse, Murega Baisho, in affairs of the county.
Mama.
A second impeachment attempt in November 2023 also failed, as the Senate sent it back to the MCAs after they were unable to substantiate the allegations. However, it was her dramatic arrest in Imenti Central in late 2023 that set the stage for her final exit. Mwangaza was bundled into a police vehicle and driven away for allegedly attending a Band Okolea program meeting, just days after then Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki outlawed the initiative. The ban followed chaos at one of her events, where angry residents burned mattresses she had donated and slaughtered a cow meant for a needy family.
Na kama kuna mtu wa kuuliza wa kwanza
ni askari wa mchana na askari wa usiku.
But the turning point in her downfall came with the chilling murder of Bernard Muthiani, a blogger critical of her administration. His gruesome killing sent shockwaves across the county. Beyond being under intense security surveillance, Mwangaza faced accusations of orchestrating the heinous act, plunging her leadership into deeper turmoil. Her final impeachment push was the proverbial last straw, triggering the dramatic downfall of former Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza. The Senate upheld 3 charges: gross violation of the Constitution, gross misconduct, and abuse of office, sealing her fate.
The Senate has resolved to remove from office by impeachment Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the governor of Meru County.
Mwangaza, who claimed powerful forces, including her former competitors, orchestrated her removal, alleging they couldn't stand a woman governor, initially secured a temporary reprieve that delayed the Senate's decision. That reprieve expired last Friday.
The Gazette notice dated 20th August, published on 21st August 2024, is affirmed.
Her deputy, with whom she had frequent clashes, has now taken over as the 4th governor of Meru County.
When you see a Meru man getting overwhelmed with emotions, it has not been easy.
I, Honorable Isaac Mutuman Twadingia,
Mwangaza, a Makerere-trained human resource manager and self-proclaimed bishop, was ultimately unable to withstand the political forces that led to her downfall. Before rising to governor, she served as Meru's 2nd woman representative from 2017 to 2022, winning on an independent ticket. Now she insists she will appeal her removal while also distancing herself from the ruling UDA party. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, beyond the borders, Rwanda has severed diplomatic ties with Belgium, accusing the European nation of interfering in its internal affairs. In a swift retaliatory move, Belgium has also cut ties with its former colony, escalating tensions amid the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, Rwanda has ordered all the Belgian diplomats to leave the country within 48 hours, while Belgium has threatened to declare all Rwandan diplomats in its territory persona non grata. Gatete Njoroge has more.
Twarabihanangirije kuva kera turaza kubihanangiriza n'ubu ngubu.
A day after President Paul Kagame issued a warning to Belgium over what he termed as a plan to divide them, Rwanda has gone forward and cut diplomatic ties with their former colonizer. In a statement shared by the Rwanda's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on their X platform, President Paul Kagame's administration stated it had notified the government of Belgium of their decision to sever diplomatic relations with immediate effect. Rwanda attributed the decision to what they termed as Belgium's attempts to undermine Rwanda before and during the ongoing conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwanda accuses Belgium of taking sides in the conflict, which has displaced over 500,000 people since January, and mobilizing against its former colony in an attempt to destabilize the country and the region. In the statement, Rwanda directed all Belgian diplomats in Rwanda to leave the country within 48 hours and assured the Brussels administration of protection of the premises, property, and archives of the Belgian diplomatic mission in Kigali. In their response, Belgium Minister of Foreign Affairs Maxime Prevot stated that they regret the decision taken by Rwanda to cut off diplomatic relations. He further says that the action is disproportionate to the conflict at hand and only goes to show that Rwanda is not ready for dialogue to reach an amicable solution. Prevot categorically stated that they will take similar measures, declaring Rwanda's diplomats persona non grata and denouncing all bilateral cooperation agreements. A diplomatic spat that seems to have been fueled by Brussels' action to lead calls for European nations to sanction Rwanda over its alleged support for the M23 rebel group. The European Union has sanctioned 9 people and a gold refinery in connection to the conflict. The unprecedented diplomatic spat between the two nations could spell doom to peace efforts aimed at bringing to the negotiating table the warring parties and end a war that has claimed over 5,000 lives in the last 3 months. The M23 rebel group has so far captured Goma and Bukavu in eastern DR Congo since the start of the conflict, with talks lined up in Angola. DR Congo presidency spokesperson Tina Salama on Sunday stated that a government delegation will be in Angola on Tuesday for talks with M23. The rebel group has also sent a 5-member delegation to the talks, seeking to resolve the long-running conflict. Rwanda, which has been blamed for supporting M23, has vehemently denied the accusation. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, the Kenya Magistrates and Judges Association is accusing the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that's EACC, of harassment and intimidation of judicial officers. In a bid to be enjoined in the case against Thika Magistrate Stella Atambo, the association cited constitutional violations in the investigation process. And as Laura Otieno now reports, this move comes just hours after the High Court halted the DPP from prosecuting Atambo, escalating tension into a full-blown standoff between the judiciary and the anti-graft agency.
4 days after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission raided the home of Thika Law Court's Chief Magistrate Stella Atambo, the Kenya Magistrates and Judges Association has now come out guns blazing, accusing the anti-graft watchdog of intimidation of judicial officers. In its application to be enjoined as an interested party in the suit against Atambo, the association listed what it said were attempts to instill fear among judicial officers, including secretive investigations, such as using the initials of the magistrate instead of her full name. KMJA pointed out that the investigative tactics applied by EACC have led to public ridicule and cyberbullying of judicial officers, citing an apparent trend in concealing identities of judicial officers in the course of investigations. The application further argued that EACC's actions are part of a broader assault on judicial independence orchestrated by forces uncomfortable with the functional judiciary, warning that the situation could lead to fear amongst judicial officers in making independent rulings in fear of retaliation. This comes hours after the High Court in Nairobi barred the DPP from arresting and prosecuting Chief Magistrate Atambo. In the order, Justice Chacha Mwita said that there was a question of the identity of the person sued, who was identified as Bonareri N, directing that the orders remain in force until 10th of June. EACC had on Thursday last week raided the home of Chief Magistrate Atambo, where they reportedly recovered a sum of 2 million shillings inside a laptop bag. In a statement, the commission said it suspected the cash to have been proceeds of corruption following numerous complaints of bribery leveled against the magistrate. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
Now let's take a look at the cost of living in numbers. Despite government data indicating a drop in the price of key commodities, millions of Kenyans continue to struggle. With 4 in every 10 earning less than 150 shillings a day, poverty levels are deepening. Economic experts warn that living conditions have worsened over the past 2 years, surpassing even the hardships of the COVID-19 pandemic. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
Just 2.5 years into the Kenya Kwanza administration, more Kenyans have fallen below the poverty line, worse off than during the COVID-19 pandemic. Economic experts attribute this to the rising payroll deduction, soaring utility costs, and a shrinking job market. According to experts, millions of Kenyans in urban centers cannot afford to spend 266 shillings a day, an equivalent of 8,006 shillings a month, while those in rural centers cannot afford to spend 133 shillings per day, an equivalent of 4,003 shillings a month.
Incomes have not improved. The latest report from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics suggests and indicates actually that you have more people in poverty than you had. In fact, we seem to have gone to the early 2000 kind of numbers. The number of people who are reporting that they are losing jobs, they've lost jobs, they're trying So, and then add the taxation regimes and the policies that have been put in place the last 2 years. That has just, when you look at your pay slip, you're not only earning less because your salary has not been improved, but you're even earning less because then you have more taxes.
If you also look at poverty levels, those have actually gone up. So the current poverty level is 39%. So there are about 20 million Kenyans who are living below the poverty line. The other macro indicators is obviously the employment levels. I don't have the actual figures, but when you just compare all those, it tells you that yes, whereas the movement in terms of prices of goods and services has gone down, inflation has slightly gone down, that purchasing power has been affected.
These realities are now forcing Kenyans to turn to short-term credit facilities to maintain their livelihoods. According to the recently released Tala March Money report, there has been a 19% jump in the number of Kenyans seeking credit facilities to survive. The report further shows that food, rent, education and utilities are the main drivers of Kenya's indebtedness.
If you think about it, if a customer has been cutting down on their basic expenses for the last 2 years, as we know from the report, there's probably nothing else left to be cutting down. And now that resulted in a new trend that we were seeing for the first time, which is actually a 19 percentage point jump in customers saying they'll borrow more.
So what has happened is obviously the economic situation in our country has been declining at a macro level. As a result of that, the consumer will obviously then also have an economic challenge.
Despite the government's efforts to lower inflation over the past 2 years, leading to reduced prices for commodities, experts argue that without improving consumers' purchasing power, the impact remains minimal. The data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows that inflation has dropped from 8.5% in August 2022 to around 3% over the past 2 years. However, experts warn that this decline doesn't necessarily mean a lower cost of living.
So we are dealing with compounded effects of inflation, so that then the cost of goods and services has been going up. It's only that last year it went up by just 3%. It went up slower than it did the previous years. That's what those numbers mean. But remember, I've just told you that if your income has not improved, you still are getting 200 shillings in a day. But now the amount of money you need to spend to buy goods and services, which perhaps you spent 100 shillings the previous year, now you need to spend 110. It means since your income has not gone up, you're having to part with more to get the same product.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, despite President Ruto's rise to power on the hustler narrative, his administration is yet to deliver on its promise of economic relief for most Kenyans. Pledges to lower the cost of living, create jobs and eradicate hunger remain unfulfilled. Yet even as the government insists that it has eased the economic burden, many Kenyans continue to feel the strain. Our reporter Gatete Njoroge takes a closer look at their struggle.
The energy of Nairobi's central business district comes alive along Safi Lane, where the daily hustle and bustle define the city's heartbeat. Shoe shiners, cobblers and traders are busy at work. Among them is Livingstone Okwiri, a father of 3 who juggles 2 roles, cobbler and shoe shiner. As we find him carefully stitching a customer's shoe, his colleagues stand by ready to serve the next client in need of a quick polish.
Kama sasa niko na wateja 3 kutoka niingia hapa asubuhi. Na sasa masaa inazidi kuyoyoma. So hiyo kama asubuhi mpaka sasa niko na 3, hakuna hopes nyingine kufika jioni. So ni kusema tu usiku kubali vile huko hiyo kipato kidogo ujipange nayo.
Okwiri says unlike before, business has been slow over the last 2 years with depreciating purchasing powers from majority of Kenyans.
Hapo nyuma maisha imekuwa mzuri. Although tulikuwa tunanunua vitu expensive, lakini pesa ilikuwa ina flow. Kwa saa hii kila mtu analia, sasa tujui nani atasaidia mwingine. Hiyo 500. Tupige hesabu kinunua unga kama kilo 2 saa hii ni 170. Ununue mafuta ya kupika ya mbao, nyanya na kitunguu, unapata hakuna kitu umebaki nayo.
With business dwindling and the cost of living soaring, Okwiri is left with no choice but to walk 10 kilometers daily from his home in Kibra to his workstation and back. A journey that once seemed manageable is now taking a toll on him.
Ni utembea, juu ukipiga bajeti yako, ukiweka mpaka matatu, unapata unabaki nil.
Like many Kenyans, Okwiri challenges government reports of a stable economy and low inflation. He insists that the reality on the ground tells a different story. One of struggle and survival.
Bei inapungua, but sasa wenye matatu hao ndio upunguzi bei yao ya bus fare. Lakini bei ya mafuta hata ikishuka, matatu wana maintain tu na ile bei yao walikuwa kama mafuta iko juu.
Okwiri recalls the hope he had when the Kenya Kwanza government took office, believing that change was on the horizon. But over 2 years later, the promises of empowering small traders and creating job opportunities remain unfulfilled, leaving the dream of a better life just that, a dream.
Mimi nilikuwa natarajia at least tapata kama motorbike kangu kazuri, piga na biashara yangu hata kama nilipa polepole, at least nimechukua na bei ya chini. But sasa hii ndio ziko juu zaidi na siwezi fanikiwa hiyo pesa kupata.
As a young Kenyan struggling to make ends meet, Okwiri believes that while President William Ruto's administration has prioritized housing projects, similar efforts should be directed toward initiatives that support cobblers and small-scale traders.
Anaweza tufungulia hata kiwanda yetu, tuungane, si lazima hata tuimport vitu kutoka ng'ambo. Tunajitengenezea tu hapa na tunauza tu, tunapata kazi.
Siwezi ona ajenge soko saa hii na tuingie saa hiyo, bado tunaumia. Saa hii naweza omba tu achilie hata kama ni ile masaa. Kuna masaa governor alikuwa ametupea saa 10, kuanzia saa 10 kuendelea hivyo. Hiyo ni masaa mzuri sana.
With 2.5 years remaining in President Ruto's term, small traders remain hopeful that the government will prioritize lowering the cost of essential goods from food, fuel to electricity, and that industry players will follow suit. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, on that note, the Monday Report is taking a quick break. We're back with much more in just a bit, so don't go too far. No more open contributions in church. Clergy vow to ban politicians from the pulpit, but will the order hold? Tonight, we hear from the church.
The Smarter Bundle. Bundle imetosha. 30 GB monthly data. 400 minutes talk time to any network. 100% rudishiwa on Airtel Money transactions, bank to wallet, pay bills, and agent withdrawals. Subscribe to the Smarter Bundle today. Dial *544# or visit My Airtel app. Airtel Smarter Bundle. Browse, chat, call. Airtel Money. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Buroti maguta, keja kwa mtaa mambo fiti. Nafungua bahasha wao nikismile, mambo ni murwa, kop imesota. Shikie keda, biza maplot, nikasip tu. Kanifota mboka, rekti kotop, nikasip tu.
Na payslip yako, unaweza pata mobile loan ya 500,000 na personal loan ya 9 million. Tembelea Cooperative Bank branch leo. Cooperative Bank, we are you.
Vibes zinachemka. Form imejipa. M-Pesa is officially adulting and it's time to celebrate. The M-Pesa 18 and over concert. It's a truly Kenyan experience. Tokea tujinais. Uhuru Park, 21st March 2025. Gates zina open at exactly saa 8 mchana. Na entry ni M-Pesa birthday bundle ya 20 bob tu. Life ni sherehe.
Turn
everyday greens into family favorites. Transform managu, mchicha, mrenda, and mito into family favorites. When almost cooked, add red and yellow hoho, garlic, and dania for great flavor and a burst of color.
Afya bora huanza na chakula bora.
Life is about building benchmarks to remember. We're not just discussing blueprints and figures. We're talking about making our mark, building our pride, joy, and future. It's not just metal, it's safety. It's peace of mind that makes this place home. Our steel isn't just about strength. It's about resilience. Every time we lay a foundation or raise a roof, we're building more than just structures. We're building a legacy, a footprint, a promise to remember for life. Our mark isn't just in the buildings we build. It's in the lives we impact, the communities we strengthen. And together, we'll leave our mark on this world.
Faida yenye iko ni ile kwa heka moja ukifanya ravli. Kwa heka unaweza pata kunia 60.
How do you feel ukiamka kando ya mtu mwenye unapenda every day?
Wewe acha mambo mingi. Kwani shida iko wapi?
Kila safari huanza na ndoto. As we celebrate 40 years, our promise is to be with you for life. Tufanikishe zaidi.
Welcome back. So health services have been paralyzed in Kajiado County after UHC health workers downed their tools for weeks now to demand for promotions and remittance of their statutory deductions. The Kajiado Referral Hospital has been forced to discharge all patients admitted at the facility due to a biting shortage of health workers. A spot check by Citizen TV paints a grim picture of patients being turned away from hospitals and forced to seek healthcare services in private facilities. Mary Mwoki has more.
The Kajiado County Referral Hospital is a deserted place. The effects of the ongoing strike by nurses in the county evident in the empty hallways and reception area. In the wards, the beds are empty and unoccupied. Ward by ward, silence echoes through the walls. The facility, which is the largest in Kajiado County, was forced to discharge all the patients admitted at the facility following the withdrawal of services by nurses. Hundreds of them left the hospital, leaving only one patient who is in critical condition and unable to move.
Hapa sihudumiwi vizuri. Hawako hapo mimi sijaona. Hawako hata sijui. Nimekuja umeona kweli. Hiyo ndio kuko.
Hajahudumiwa kutoka kwa wiki mbili hivi. Simeisha. Walikuja kwa maandika mandawa, dawa zingine zimeisha. Wagonjwa wengine walitolewa hapa wakapikwa transfer. Wengine wakaenda nyumbani. Sina uwezo wa kumtoa hapa. Na ninaomba wasaidizi.
UHC nurses in the county have been on strike from March 7th, protesting the delay of their promotions, the failure by the county government to employ them on permanent and pensionable terms, as well as what they term unethical labor practices.
Wanachama wetu ambao ni wauguzi wafunge hizo mahospitali zote na waende nyumbani.
Issues to do with non-remittance of third-party deductions. For example, the SHA and the CPF. If you go to our CPF portal, you will find that the nurses have arrears of about 17 months, 1 year and 5 months, which have been deducted from their payslips and have not been remitted to CPF scheme.
The Nurses Union accused the Kajiado County government of failing to attend reconciliatory meetings convened by the Ministry of Labour, a move they see as a clear lack of goodwill towards resolving the stalemate. The healthcare workers also accused the county of intimidating their members and withholding salaries despite the strike being lawful.
Wasitishwe na hizo barua ambazo wamepewa, ambazo ni kinyume na sheria. Tutaenda mpaka kotini tuhakikishe hizo barua zimetolewa kwa file.
Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
Now, Pastor Peter Kimondo of Christ Impact Church has been arraigned in a Nakuru court to face 2 charges, rape and committing an indecent act allegedly committed in May 2022, and appearing before Senior Resident Magistrate Ruth Kefa. His defense lawyer pleaded for his release on cash bail, a request strongly opposed by the prosecution. The court ordered that Kimondo remains in custody overnight as he awaits the court's decision on his bond application on Tuesday. Kimondo was arrested on Saturday in Nairobi and transferred to Nakuru, where the alleged offences took place. Now, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos has ordered all school heads to release national exam certificates, including NEC, KCSE and KCPE, within 14 days. This directive comes in response to public outcry over schools withholding certificates due to unpaid fees. Migos has warned that any head teacher who defies this order will face serious consequences. Willie Lusige has the details.
Thousands of students who sat national exams like KCSE are stranded. The school leavers have still not received their certificates, mainly due to unpaid school fees. This has put a major impediment in their plans to continue with their education or seek job opportunities.
We have received reports from various quarters to the effect that some schools are withholding NEC certificates from candidates who sat the examinations in their institutions. Some of these certificates are withheld ostensibly because of unpaid school fees.
In a bold move, Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos has now ordered all head teachers to release certificates immediately, terming withholding of the documents illegal and unacceptable.
Section 10(1)(b) of the Kenya National Examinations Council Act 2012 prohibits institutions or persons from withholding NEC certificates or diplomas from the candidates. All candidates are by law entitled to their certificates upon release of their results when the certificates are delivered to their respective schools.
Head teachers who have certificates in their possession have been given 14 days ultimatum to release or face serious consequences.
Any school that is withholding NEC certificates should release them to the candidates immediately. County Directors of Education shall furnish my office with reports on compliance with this directive within 14 days from today. The Ministry, together with the Teacher Service Commission, will take prompt and decisive action against any offending teacher in line with the Code of Regulations of Teachers.
Elsewhere, Technical University of Kenya lecturers have called off their strike.
I want to officially announce to members of the public and academic staff at Technical University that the strike is over. Now we have a deal. We could not get everything, but we have a first plan that is going to solve this problem once and for all.
Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Now, Techno Kenya has today launched the much-awaited Canon 40 series, bringing AI-powered photography, high performance and a stylish design to Kenyan consumers. The launch of the new phone, held at the Techno outlet in Sarit Center, shows Techno's commitment to the latest mobile technology. The Canon 40 series comes with a powerful processor, allowing for smooth multitasking, fast apps and a great gaming experience. Its large, high-quality display offers clear and vibrant visuals, making it perfect for watching videos, playing games and using social media. With this launch, Techno continues to grow its presence in Kenya, providing advanced technology at an affordable price. The Canon 40 series is said to be a top choice for consumers looking for great cameras, powerful performance and good value for money.
It's an amazing looking phone, from the user interface, the body, the design.
In the Technocam 30, they had like the circular module at the back, but they've switched it up to the 3-camera layup.
It has a 50 megapixel LYT 700C Sony sensor, which is actually really good.
Feature yenye nimependa sana ni kuna Ella, the AI assistant. I can literally call onto Ella and they can guide me or they can help me look for what I want.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're having that conversation with Reverend Canon Evans Omolo, Provost at the All Saints Cathedral. They said that politicians will not be allowed in the pulpits. They also said they will not be announcing the contributions in church. But will it hold? It's not the first time we're hearing this. That conversation coming up in just a bit.
Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, that shirt has seen better days. Mara, it's your faded shirt. Mara, it's your faded roof. Look at our roof. From Mabati Rolling Mills. Still as vibrant after all these years. Unlike your shirt.
Yes, MRM steel roofing tiles are made using advanced color coating technology that makes the color last.
The tiles are even wider, so you use less pieces.
Which saved us money. So you mean Mabati Rolling Mills saves you money?
Yeah!
Steal the show with versatile, Oriental and Elegantile steel roofing tiles. Backed by a genuine warranty only from Mabati Rolling Mills. Visit a dealership or call us today at 0788 202020.
This is me at Stanbic Private Banking. What does it feel like? It's accessing a private airport lounge. It's me having access to offshore banking opportunities. It's more than banking. It's investing skillfully. It's planning wisely. It's living joyfully. It's banking easily. It's me walking boldly into my future. Start your journey. Visit www.stanbic.co.ke. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
At Amaco Insurance, we ensure safe journeys by protecting public vehicles and the lives on board. With every policy, we provide full coverage for peace of mind on every ride. Your trust makes us the #1 choice for PSV insurance. We also insure private and commercial vehicles, businesses, livestock, homes, schools, and more. Visit us today and let's plan your insurance together.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited, your one-stop shop for affordable and quality guaranteed roofing solutions. Grab our offers. Pay 40%, get same-day production, relax at home, and enjoy free delivery. Call us on 0722 638383. Order today at www.royalmabati.com.
Kila safari huanza na ndoto. Ndoto za kufanikiwa maishani. Ndoto za kufanikiwa kibiashara. Ndoto za kufanikiwa kimaendeleo. For 4 decades, we have been your trusted partner, witnessing the achievements of each generation. As we celebrate 40 years, our promise is to be with you for life. Tufanikishe zaidi.
Sasa,
Wasan,
ile stick ya zero sugar ni nini?
Ujui Club Zero? Hebu nikushow.
Festive seeded bread, zero added sugar, high in fiber and protein.
Mkate zero sugar.
Soma lebo.
Sasa Mama Tosh, wewe kwa Club Zero?
Nikose nichekwe.
Aya, nipe mbili, moja ya babu, ingine ya shosho. Shosh. Mkate ya Club Zero, imagine.
Festive Zero and Festive Wholemeal, zero added sugar and reduced salt.
Napenda. Asante sana mwanangu. Na hii Festive Wholemeal ni yako babu. Imepunguzwa chumvi, soma lebo.
This is very good. Hii mkate ya Heritage ina chumvi nyingi, alafu ni ngumu.
Karibuni Club Zero.
carefully read the food label before consuming your products. The balanced recipe with reduced salt and zero added sugar is good for you and your family.
Je, ungependa kuwa mkulima dhabiti? Anza kwa kupanda na Elgon Dhabiti Fertilizer Planting iliyotengenezwa kuimarisha mahitaji ya mizizi ya miche yako michanga ili kuipa msingi dhabiti. Isitoshe, tumia Elgon Dhabiti Fertilizer Top Dressing ili kuipa mimea yako nguvu ya ukuaji wa kipekee na uzalishaji bora. Dhabiti Fertilizer ina virutubisho vyote muhimu. Jiunge na wakulima dhabiti ufurahie mavuno tele. Jipatie Dhabiti Fertilizer kutoka kwa vituo vya NCPB kote nchini Kenya. Elgon Kenya Limited, transforming farms and lives through technology.
You're helping Lorena Martinez.
That's enough. What I do or don't do is my business alone.
But as for this matter, my decision here is like a moving train, very unstoppable.
Grand prize won! Win big with the WRC Safari Rally 2025. Revisha and feel the roar.
All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Let's have that conversation with Reverend Canon Evan Somolo, Provost at the All Saints Cathedral. Thank you so much for making time, Rev.
Thank you, Trevor, and warm greetings to Kenyans watching.
Thank you very much. So now, this is not the first time we've had this clarion call by the clergy, that first you will ban open Harambes in church, you will stop the politicians from speaking in the pulpit. What will be so different this time?
Basically, Trevor, the desire is to restore sanity in places of worship, and to ensure that churches uphold the integrity and ethics that is desired of them, so that they're not spaces for laundering money, they're not spaces for hurling abuses at each other, they're not spaces to attack, because the church represents every sector of the society. And therefore, when you have specific groups of people abusing each other, inciting this side over this side, then it defeats the meaning of the existence of the church.
Has the church been a space for laundering money?
You definitely can say that, because you've seen quite a lot of politicians trying to use church spaces or spaces of worship to give large donations, which largely are questionable. And from where we sit, we view this as a money laundering process. Because you look, for example, at an ordinary member of parliament, look at their salary, and look at that net salary after they're taxed, after their personal obligations. Where would they get the money to be giving 5 million shillings every Sunday, 20 million shillings? Where would they be getting that money? It beats logic where this comes from. Definitely, there are sources of corruption that are trickling and feeding these pockets that they want to use the church to launder such money.
But then where do you draw the line? Because there's some of them who've said that when I give to the church, I'm giving to the Lord, and it is to build the church, not the reverend or the pastor.
Perfect. 100% I agree with that. And remember, not just myself, not just our Archbishop, but even the Catholic bishops and other church leaders have said repeatedly that, number one, everyone is welcome to church. And then number two, that everyone is free to give. And therefore, giving is free and open to everyone. What we are talking about is giving that is meant to compromise people, giving that is akin to a show-off. So we say welcome, and the same way the ordinary members who attend All Saints Cathedral give every single Sunday to support and sustain the ministry of that church and many other churches, equally come and give quietly and go. No one has said that they shouldn't give.
So is the show-off on the amounts given or the publicity of the amounts?
Both.
Okay.
Both, definitely. Because no one would want to give 200 shillings and talk about it. ordinarily from a sensible perspective. So people who give large amounts of money, and especially here we are talking about people with intents that are questionable, then they will demand the microphone. If you want to give 5 million shillings on a particular Sunday, go drop it in the offertory bag, walk back to your seat or to your pew and sit. And everyone will be okay.
Yeah.
And Trevor, let me tell you, most of what we see being propagated as big monies which come with the demand to speak, to address the people, to sell my agenda, that usually is a one-off. The members of those churches sustain those ministries Sunday in, Sunday out for 52 Sundays. But somebody comes once, wants to give a large amount of money, then make a hula-baloo about it. But remember, there's a huge constellation of people who support this ministry here every now and again, and no one of them would ever want to speak. So why would we allow you to speak? Because you've given a lot of money. Give, quietly go and sit, go home, we'll pray over it, and the Lord will bless you as he blesses everyone else.
But is that the position, Reverend? Because is it a demand to speak by the politicians, or is it the desire of the clergy or their perceived intention to give them a platform to speak? Because I have not seen a politician come and tell the clergy that I want to speak. It's the clergy who always recognize them and ask them to come and say something.
Trevor, you haven't seen. But I'll put it at an unscientific ratio of 90-1. 90% being the politicians demanding to speak. I lead a congregation down the road at All Saints Cathedral, and every now and again, whether it's in a funeral, whether it's in a big function, little notes will be passed on by PAs, by people. Can you give Mheshimiwa time to say something? Can you give this one time to say something? So 90%, it's them demanding to speak. And in particular, if it's a fundraiser, and then that then gives them fairly what they would refer to as a legitimacy, now to speak. Before I give my money, I'd want to say something. Okay. So those who, there's a 10% sense in which the ministers would say, okay, Trevor has brought us something here, he wants to greet people. That would also be there. So I wouldn't deny that percentage is way, way smaller compared to those who impose themselves and want to influence people using the money.
One of the most difficult times is usually when the churches call for harambes. Should that just be banned so that churches find other ways of raising funds without necessarily involving the people?
You see, like I can speak for the All Saints Cathedral Diocese where I belong and where I serve as a minister. So our bishop, who is the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Kenya, for us has given us a directive and says all fundraisers are welcome. You're okay to do a fundraiser, but you don't announce. Since that direction was given, down at All Saints Cathedral, when we do fund mobilization, we do it, yes, but it's quiet. Nobody will say, I've given this, I've given 1,000, 1,000,000, 200. It's quiet. And therefore, it's incumbent upon ministers like myself to recognize that there is a very thin line between generosity and giving to the Lord and show off.
Yeah.
There's a very thin line.
But then who decides what that line is?
It's Scripture that defines. Scripture defines that
it only talks about a 10% contribution, right?
It does.
So my 10% could be different from yours. If my 10% is 20 million, that's not necessarily a show-off.
Exactly. So the show-off is not in terms of the amount, but in terms of always wanting to show up to say something about what you've given, or to say, I'm giving this amount. You know, the Bible says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 3 and verse 4, clearly says that when you're giving, let not the left hand know what the right hand has given. And verse 4 clarifies the reason, so that you're giving maybe in secret. Therefore, your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So it promises a reward for those who don't parade their giving like this. And therefore, that for me is the principle, and it defines it very clearly as a student of the Bible and as a believer who wants to uphold Christian principles and biblical principles. I go by that.
So let's get practical on this, Reverend. So how will you balance between the fundraisers and the political grandiosity? So I give money, you don't say?
Exactly.
At all?
Exactly.
So then how do we even know as a congregation how much we've raised?
No, it's not
about the total, but not what Reverend has given.
Exactly.
Trevor has given.
Exactly. I mean,
so
you don't want to doubt the accountability processes of the church. For example, if we came to Church X, so we're running fundraiser here, so the secretariat that is receiving donations is not one person. So there's a table there that is noting what is given and is counting. We get the tallying and the end we say we've raised 7 million shillings. That accountability exists and is there. So what we're simply saying is, from where I sit, and this is really personal opinion, that we hold resource mobilization functions, which we call Harambes. Let everyone bring their resources. We don't announce, but in the long run, we say the tally that we've given.
Because that changes the entire format of how these fundraisers have been done, because we see cards written there, chief guest, guest of honor, assistant guests. These are people who you'd expect that once everybody has contributed, then they come and give their final cash, which mostly is a lot of money.
What is the offense?
Unless now you're saying that
what is the offense? So Trevor is
without anything.
Trevor is an invited guest in our fund mobilization ceremony, and you're the chief guest, for example. What is the offense of Trevor giving you $500,000 without saying, I've given here $500,000? Just give it quietly and we go, and that's the end of it. You see, I can even see an ego pushing in you and saying, my money must be mentioned and they must know how much I've given so that they know I am somebody. I can definitely see it pushing. I can see it pushing from within you.
It's the format of the rampes that have been there, Reverend. I mean,
that is what we want to dismantle.
Before. The cards that people give and then you come and give contributions.
That is what we want.
It's mentioned on the spot.
That is what we want to dismantle.
So if you're banning this for politicians, you're banning it for everyone.
That is what we want to dismantle. It's not about politicians. It's about everyone. But the reason why it focuses much on the politicians is because I guess they tend to do it more. And largely, as I said earlier, it's really questionable how these monies are given. Even if you stretch the conversation further, you would look at the myriad needs that are around people, even if you don't talk about the corruption, but the myriad needs that are around people, that politicians are not able to mobilize those resources and address those needs. Why would you give 120 million shillings in a single fundraiser, yet children in Korogosho cannot have food, children in Kibera cannot go to school? Why can't we channel these resources? Whereas it's good to even support churches, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but why are we not seeing the many, many other needs around us and channel those resources there quietly? Why must it be this big publicity that I've given this amount of money? If you want to note, it is because there's a political agenda tied to it, that they're seeing votes, basically. And Trevor, when we sit here, you may not know, but a lot of conversations with senior people and church leaders who receive this money, those declarations of I'm going to give 3 million or 5 million, majority of them are never given. Up to now, I know a particular Anglican diocese that was promised a large sum of money, and the bishop had to be in problems. Christians say you were given. In the real sense, he was not given. It became a debt. So these are the gimmicks and political games that we are saying must end. Let's restore sanity to the pulpit, proclaim the gospel, and do things in the right way as we also develop our country.
Okay. Reverend, as we wind up, Kitale's finest Kiprop here says, politicians are just Christian men and women who are privileged to be in power. Again, the Bible prohibits us from being judgmental. What proof do we have to justify that the money is ill-gotten?
I mean, if they are Christians like anyone else, why don't they sit on the pew, give like anyone else? Why must they be given the mic to speak? Yeah, there are rallies where they can do their politicking.
But we can't determine whether that money is ill-gotten. That's what he's trying to
say. You see, let's be practical, my dear brother. A member of parliament would earn upwards of 1.5 million if you lump all the allowances together. That, if the taxman takes their share, comes to around 900,000 or 800,000 shillings a month. They're not servicing their mortgage yet. They're not paying their loans and everything else. Where would they get the money to be giving every now and again? How do you know the lifestyles of these people? My brother, it's not rocket science to determine that this is corruption. And let me just justify that a little further. All these monies are given in cash. Why can't they do EFT? Why can't you write a check because they don't want trails. These are corrupt monies that are brought in offices around tenders and around compromising of values, and monies looted from the public coffers. This, Trevor, we are saying as church should stop.
And yet the clergy has consistently accepted that money in cash for the longest time. And you also indicted in this.
There is a moment for a U-turn. There comes a moment. You remember Saitoti, Professor Saitoti, the late say, there comes a moment. So there comes that U-turn moment. And that U-turn moment for us is now.
So this is the moment.
Let's restore sanity.
Okay. There's still more feedback coming through here as we wind up on this conversation. I see Gabi Wakasiaka says, unfortunately, the bishops and pastors preach water and drink wine. Trevor, next Sunday, when they will see 20 million received by the same people, we will see 20 million received by the same people. That's what he's saying.
All right.
All right. And this is a cleansing attempt. That's still Kitale's Finance. He says, this is a cleansing attempt by the church. We are in this mess because the church decided to be active players in the last elections. Now realizing their mess, they are acting angelic.
Let me clarify that a little bit. Again, and I've said repeatedly on these shows that when we talk about the church, let's also avoid lumping the entire church together. There's a section of the church that stands for and upholds the integrity of what should be done. You remember recently, the Catholic bishops returned money. They've returned vehicles. Remember, the Anglican Church called on money to be returned. And so when pockets of churches flow with this tirade, it doesn't condemn the entire church. There is a section of the church that upholds integrity and that does what is right. Okay. When there is one dented image, we should not condemn the entire.
And finally, there was another directive that was given on how you will recognize them, but you'll not give them the microphone. So how will you decide who to recognize? At what point are you stopping? Are you stopping at the MCAs? Are you stopping at the chief?
Ordinarily, the general principle usually is the senior-most of those that are present.
So it doesn't trickle down.
If it's, for example, the governor, who is the senior-most political leader there, then he will be given the microphone, recognize everyone else, and it ends there. So if it is a group of MCS, then the senior-most of them, the majority leader in the county assembly, for example, basically.
All right.
And again, that one, just as we end, it's not to curb people from speaking, it's to bring a blockade to a lot of venom that is spewed through such. You've heard of people abusing themselves. Do you want to have a space of worship where this one is abusing that one, where this unpalatable language and unprintable language is used from the pulpit? So basically that is it. And remember, Archbishop yesterday did mention that they're not denied from speaking. They can go and address the media and the people outside of the sanctuary. That is okay.
Okay. Will this apply to the president as well?
You know, the president is different because the president is a symbol of national unity. Okay. There's an exemption with the office of the president.
Okay. Definitely. So the exemption is with the office of the president?
100%.
Okay. Yeah. That's where it ends. It doesn't go to the executives, the cabinet secretaries?
No.
Okay.
No. Of course, some of those will be situational in my understanding, and depends also of where. But so I want to guess that bishops and clergy like myself will uphold that so that we restore respect for places of worship.
What do you say to people who say this is an attempt to stifle the opposition on a different voice?
It is actually not opposition. It is actually not opposition. And I saw some gutter press carry some very skewed and unfortunate reporting. It's not about opposition. It's, if you talk of opposition, I don't know, even the event that was there yesterday at St. Stephen's Cathedral, Jogoo Road, when the Archbishop was consecrating Bishop Kabiru, it's not just about opposition. Even Sakaja is not in the opposition. Governor Sakaja is right in Kenya Kwanza government. So let people not stretch meaning and interpret things to fit what they want heard.
All right. Thank you so much for making time for us. Reverend Canon Evans Omolo, Provost at the All Saints Cathedral. We'll join you on Sunday to see how this plays out.
Karibu sana. And you're welcome to bring your 1 million shillings quietly and silently, and I'll not give you the mic to announce.
Thank you so much. Let's take a quick break. We're back with much more in just a bit. Expect improved service at JKIA CSSA as they sign Service Delivery Charter.
Brother, chekini story fulani la penjuzi mtani record manze.
Lakini bro, kazi itakuwa tu ni kujaza simu na hizi mavida.
Ai, kujinice tu kaka.
Mwananchi ndani huyo anarada medali ya pesa.
Leta tenje ni kushovile tutaomoka. Citizen Digital wako na platform fulani kwa site yao inaitwa Wananchi Reporting. Hapa unaweza tuma story yako kwa website yao ama kwa app yao ya Citizen Digital. Na kama hiyo process ni ngumu, unaweza tuma story kwa email yao, WhatsApp number ama uitumie kama SMS.
Alafu gani napataje bro?
After story yako imepublishiwa, hapo ndo una receive 1000 kwa simu yako.
Bro, au umenichanua.
Don't just witness the news, be part of breaking it. Download the Citizen Digital app and share your story with Wananchi Reporting today.
Citizen Digital.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
The Kiambu County Government, under His Excellency Governor Dr. Kimani Wamatangi, reminds traders to pay for their 2025 single business permits. Payments can be made directly to the county bank account or M-Pesa pay bill 416-2022 using your invoice number as the account number. These funds shall support ongoing county projects such as completed 247 ECDE centers, over 30 level 4 and 3 hospitals, roads and farm inputs, among others. Governor Kimani Wamatangi, making Kiambu great again.
Just like the instinct to push limits is in your blood, or creating all kinds of social media content, or to concoct flavors that dance on the tongue, it's also in your blood to save lives. Donate today and ensure a tomorrow for you and all Kenyans. Join us. Visit a regional blood donation center near you to make your donation. Regional donation centers can be found near referral hospitals or county blood satellites within county hospitals, because it's in your blood to be the difference.
Please can I have that and that? Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Ukiwin, beshte yako in your local shop win too. Hii ni the Cadbury Big Win-Win. Nunua any two participating Cadbury products. Scan QR code ama WhatsApp hi kunominate beshte yako in your local shop. Stand a chance ya kushinda share yako in cash prizes plus more. You a win for you is a win for all. T's and C's apply.
To soothe irritated and dry skin, Vaseline's healing power is able to penetrate beneath the surface of the skin. This is because Vaseline is made with unique blends of waxes and oils that melt into the spaces between skin cells. This promotes natural moisture regulation to deliver effective skin protection against dryness. Use Vaseline because it is the first step to maintaining natural, healthy-looking skin.
Wadau, tumesikiza wasee kwa ground na sasa streets zimetii kutii. Tumeanguka na bei, mali bado ni safi. Watu wa Chrome, Triple S na Ken Extra, budget sasa imeshuka kuruka na sherehe sasa itabamba mbaya. Au sio?
Thanks for staying with us. It's time for some business news now. The Kenya Airports Authority has signed the JKIA Customer Service Charter, committing to improve efficiency, security and passenger experience. Now, the plan, backed by key government ministries, introduces faster immigration processing, stricter security screening and better agency coordination. Our reporter Wamboi Wangoi brings us the details.
The government has today inked the JKIA Customer Service Charter, pledging to improve service delivery at airports across the country.
It will enable prompt and coordinated responses to customer needs while fostering an environment that prioritizes excellence in service delivery. I'm confident that this collaboration will significantly improve customer service, customer experience at JKIA and other airports across the country.
Even as we gear towards achieving the steep targets that we have of welcoming 5 million international visitors annually from the year 2027, the airport customer experience is critical to supporting our target.
Customs clearance will be overhauled, with the duty-free threshold increasing to 250,000 shillings, and starting July 1st, all carrier customs officers will wear body cameras to enhance transparency. To reduce congestion, immigration booths will double within 90 days and electronic self-clearance gates will be installed. Security will also be beefed up with the implementation of advanced passenger information systems and risk-based profiling. Private rooms will also be constructed for the screening of flagged luggage. The government says no extra budgetary allocations will be made.
There is no extra money being put so that the charter can be done. It is the existing budgets in different agencies being implemented in a manner that is coordinated and avoids silo mentality.
Even as the charter comes into place, the government maintains that plans to construct a new airport remain a priority despite the cancellation of Adani deals. Wamboi Wangoi, Citizen TV.
Now, the Absa Bank Economic Overview report shows that domestic savings remain alarmingly low at less than 5% of the country's gross domestic product, that's a GDP, undermining the country's ability to finance investment. Now, according to the lender, this has kept the rate subdued, with net investment hovering around 10% of Kenya's GDP in just recent years. Now, according to the bank, the gap between savings and investments has largely been financed by international financial flows, leaving the economy vulnerable to external shocks. According to the report, while overall inflation has moderated, food inflation poses an upside risk, with the potential intensification of La Nina in early 2025. Now, the food and non-alcoholic beverages sub-index has increased at an annualized pace of 12%, underscoring the vulnerability of Kenya's economy to weather-related shocks. The leather industry in Kenya has continued to expand significantly, with the demand for Kenyan leather products going up. To meet this demand, more entrepreneurs are now venturing into the leather business. Kaya Leather is one of the local ventures making leather products targeting the local market. Edward Chwea tells us more in our Made in Kenya segment.
At his workshop in Kasarani, Ngugi Mwadha and his team are busy. This is Kaya Leather, a venture he co-founded with his wife to make different leather products after a visit to Ethiopia.
We realized that the price in Ethiopia and the price of leather products here, there was a huge difference. The prices there are cheaper compared to here. And that's how we started. We decided, why not? Why not start making these leather products? Because they are good. Kaya Leather was started about 4 years ago.
Mwadha sources the leather from local tanneries depending on the orders from his clients. Kaya Leather specializes in cowhide, which Mwadha says is strong and durable.
We specifically use cowhide, which we source locally from local factories. Once the leather gets to the workshop, we cut what is called a pattern, and then we do what is called stitching. And also sometimes we do what is called skiving. Skiving is just thinning the leather so that the thread can actually go through. We also do lining, inside lining and padding. We put our logo.
Targeting every Kenyan home, Kaya Leather manufactures a wide range of leather products.
We make wallets, both men and women. We make belts, both men and women. We make handbags, we make backpacks, we make travel bags. And also we combine our leather products with canvas. So we call them the leather canvas combo. And we also make laptop sleeves. So we make leather products for day-to-day use. But we have also found that most of our consumers are urban professionals. We publicize our products through social media mainly.
To stand out, Kaya Leather uses different textures of leather to meet customer tastes and preferences. Mwada also believes that the pricing of Kaya Leather products is their biggest selling point.
We have different textures and different patterns of leather. We also really try to vary the color that we use. We are also in the process of rolling out a new product that is going to mix our leather products and Ankara. We have items varying from 600 bob to 15,000 to 16,000. So the 15,000, 16,000 are the large travel bags.
Mwada says there have been deliberate efforts from stakeholders to boost the leather industry in Kenya, and his long-term plan is to expand Kaya Leather to be able to make more products and become a training center for aspiring entrepreneurs.
In Kenya, we have the advantage of actually having institutions like Kenya Leather Development Council that actually train people how to stitch leather. You can get training here at Karioko. We've also partnered with other government institutions like KEPSA, which last year took us through a marketing training. The future of Kaya is growth, 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 impact, impact, impact. And we're also looking at trying to provide internship opportunities, because we also know government has really pushed out for TVET courses, and this is a TVET space.
Edward Chwea, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV.
All right, that wraps up business news. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with sports in just a bit.